was probably my biggest month yet, for sure. It's pretty crazy to say it. It was around 50K. It's been a blessing, and humbly speaking, been exceptional progress. But how was I able to do that? If not because of being able to plug into like pre-existing systems, because I just had the systems right there. I could pretty much just plug into them and just go from there, just refine them from that point on.
The secret is you need build systems, and you will be able to focus on the higher leverage things. And when you focus on higher leverage things, you're naturally going to make more money.
If you can find just already pre-existing systems, that can help you get to where you want to go faster. And when you're there, you're not going to have to worry about like, oh, am I going to be able to stay here? Like, no, it's going to be pretty easy.
Today I'm here with Iason. Nice to see you again, bro. And I wanted to have this conversation with you because it's like every few months we need to have this conversation, because every single time I talk to you, you've accomplished something else. You've helped clients achieve something else. You've increased your income. I think of all the copywriters in the game right now that are active, you're in that top 1% of 1%, because you're really at the forefront of where all the money's being made as a copywriter. And I think, I want to talk to you about it and see what that looks like, and so more people can benefit from it. So thanks for joining me again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. That's a great intro.
Yeah. So tell us about what you've been up to recently. Like, what are some of the recent wins that people should know about?
Yeah, I think for the client side, like, been having some really great results, writing and optimizing some funnels for them, mainly webinar funnels, like on cold traffic. There was this one offer where I think it was doing like multiple 6 figures, and then we scaled it first to like 7 figures within pretty much like a couple of weeks, like 7 figures a year in a couple of weeks, and now it's on track to do 8 figures, and it's it's like a BizOp info offer. So I think 8 figures is definitely sizable. Yeah, and apart from that, like been having some pretty decent like months as well. For like personal income too. May was probably my biggest, or it was my biggest month yet, for sure. It's pretty crazy to say it, but
tell us.
It was, yeah. So
say it.
So, okay. I've opened the loop now, so I have to close it now. But it was around 50K.
$50,000.
So. Yeah. Not Zimbabwean. Not Australian.
Yeah, not bad
Right,
for not bad for
yeah.
Not bad
United
for working
States.
hard, It wasn't 0 hours of
not
work.
bad.
It was quite a lot of work. Yeah, but not bad.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
You've done
of work.
that, and then you also recently you also recently told me that you got some clients to win some positions on WAP.
Oh yeah, exactly. So 2 of my clients, both of them are, like in the BizOp space, like BizOp info. With one of them, I helped them to get the #1 spot in most money made on WAP.
Nice.
And then the other one, we got them to the top ecom program on WAP in like 3 months, I think, 2-3 months.
Impressive.
That was a very successful launch. Yeah, the whole team did a great job. I'm glad to have done my part in writing the funnels and helping with strategy and nurture, like email nurture on the back end. But yeah, the whole team did a great job, and it's a nice result for sure.
No, and I really like it, and I think that it is always a team effort for sure. But what you've been able to help people do with your skill is it's pretty impressive. I wanted to talk about this today because you made more in 1 month than most copywriters make in a year. You not only got to the top spots on WAP once, but twice for your clients, help them get there. You are able to write all types of copy. You get clients whenever you need a client or whenever you want a client. You basically look at them and they want to work with you. On sales calls, you basically have to tell people like, listen, I don't know if I can fit you in right now. And they're like, okay, well, can we start with maybe we can start with like a one-time project. Like they're the one trying to sell you on working together. So you've gone and done all this stuff in a very, very short time. And what is it that you think has been the reason that you've been able to do that? Because, getting successful as a copywriter, there's many ways you can do it, but to be able to succeed repeatedly like again and again that I get to interview you every few months because it's just so much consistent success. There has got to be something that you can attribute that to. So what do you think that is? Like, what is that?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look, the first thing I will say that, most people don't talk about is, yeah, it takes a lot of work. It does take a lot of work. You have to work hard. It's not gonna come easy no matter what. And anyone who's just telling you otherwise is just bullshitting you. But apart from that, it's not only about like working hard. Obviously, like everyone works hard. I'm sure there's some copywriters out there who might work as hard as me. I mean, even then, maybe not that many because I do work very hard. But yeah, what's the difference is I think I've managed to like systematize like most of my processes, like like from every part of the business really. Because the thing as well is like I think it's a lot better to not just see yourself as like some freelancer. Like you really have to see what you're doing as like a business, like because it's a service business, And as with any business, for them to succeed, whether that's like McDonald's or any business, like they all have systems, in place, when it comes to their sales, when it comes to their delivery, when it comes to their personal marketing, their personal branding. The reason they manage to succeed, not even just like once, but like you said, like repeatedly, is because they have their systems to fall back on, because it's like, I don't know, like as a writer, like even the best writers, they have their off days, they go blank. They don't know what to, they have writer's block, and that might make them write a lot slower and a lot worse as well. So relying purely on skill, like it's not sustainable, and it's not reliable either, What I think is much better is like if you have like a system that you can fall back on every time. Because like let's say you have that off day and you're just staring at like the blank Google Doc, and your fingers like they just won't move, and, like no matter like what you do. But I mean, what if you just had like I don't know, like a procedure that you can just rely on like time and time again to write good enough copy? Because I think that's what it's about. It's not always about like banging out like 10 out of 10 copy. Like as long as you have like a system where you can write good enough copy that's gonna convert, like we have, you mentioned this a lot as well. Like 7 out of 10 copy is really what you need consistently to be successful for your clients consistently in the long run, which is the whole point. Then you're gonna be fine. Yeah, I don't know, like, dude, like that's actually also like why I'm pretty glad that like I feel like the focus has shifted a lot on more like systematized, like more focusing on systems rather than just focusing on purely improving the skill in the dojo as well. Because I think you realize as well, like, being in this game for like what 5+ years, like, like
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen it all, and you've seen the one hit wonders, and you've seen the people who go on and get results from themselves and their clients like time and time again. And yeah, I assume that like he probably saw that, and you were like, okay, well, it's probably better to focus on systems rather than just focusing on pure skill, even though skill is important. But yeah, so
Yeah, exactly, man. Like in the dojo, it's been the case for me, like you said, 5 years. It's been 5 years now that I've been coaching copywriters, and people looking for ways to create controls and to make a name for themselves with their clients. And a lot of the time, the controls, as you know, have a lot to do with the client, have a lot to do with the offer, have a lot to do with like the relevancy in the market at the time that you launch it. Like recently I was reviewing some Amazon copy, and it's good copy. Like it's not bad copy, but the market, it's not relevant. Like I look at the offer, and it's like the majority of the marketplace is not going to jump on this. Like the way you're framing it, the way you're saying it, that copy would have been a control maybe 2022, maybe 2023, it would have been pretty good. But is it going to be a control today? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be great, And so a lot of copywriters, their entire like creating a name for yourself and being up there with the best of the best, you're kind of lucking your way through it if you approach it that way, because you have to have the right client at the right time, right offer, decent copy. I don't want to rely on luck like that, So I said, well, okay, what kind of things do I need to do consistently every single day or every single week or every month as a copywriting business so that I'm in front of the right businesses that are about to explode or are already on their trajectory. And then I get into that business and then I can reliably create the right copy. Everything is about how do we create predictable, explosive growth. And, part of that obviously is, like I just said, like closing the right clients. You have to systemize the process of getting good clients, because getting a client's not just, you can't luck into that either. If you just get any random client without intention behind it, you're not going to be able to create that control. You could be working with some average agency for a year and make 3-4 grand a month, but it's not the agency that's got a client that's exploding or a name that you can use to brag about, So you don't want to just take any deal. We've talked about this, at one point you were saying, should I take the deal, yes or no? And then I said to you, you need to get to a point where you're not asking me, should I take the deal, yes or no? You're saying, hey, Matt, here's 3 deals on my plate right now. Here's what I'm thinking. Which of these deals do you think makes the most sense for my goals? That's where we got to. We got to that point, like, I think almost a year ago, maybe even further, a year before that. You're always comparing opportunities. Whereas a lot of copywriters watching this, majority of them, it's like, should I take the deal, yes or no? And when you're looking at that, you can only see the price upside, which is like, oh, I'm going to make an extra $3,000 a month from this deal. Like, that is not the game. That $3,000 might be financial. I mean, how money can just, it's gone. Like $3 grand can just disappear like very easily. If you move to Dubai, for example, you can spend that money like this really quickly, and going to events, like, a lot of businesses, a lot of copywriters, they're like paycheck to paycheck, essentially. Even if they have a little bit of savings, they're just trading their skill for the money. And what we talked about a long time is, how can we systematically increase your brand, your positioning, the results you're getting for clients, working with better and better businesses. So like, maybe today you're making this amount of money. However, the results that you're getting and the people you're working with are amplifying the amount of new business you can acquire effortlessly because you have more and more results, right? So
exactly.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that because I think a lot of people, they're approaching this very linearly. They're looking at like, this deal, I'd take this deal and I gotta like use my skills to do this, and I'll take this deal and I gotta use my skills to do this. And you need to systemize it. You do have to systemize it. And like I said, I've been doing this for 5 years, right, with coaching. I mean, I've been in the industry since 2017, so 8 years. But as a coach, I've been doing this for the last 5 years. And we've systemized everything, that's really what we do, because any strategy can only work for a certain amount of time. Back in 2022, 2023, outreach was a lot more effective. People were sending a lot more outreach. And many coaches have boxed themselves into teaching outreach as the strategy. And it's useful, but it's not as relevant today. The same as the BizOp guys, they might be an Amazon coach. If you just teach Amazon, you might box yourself if Amazon becomes less popular. Now you're not able to scale to $20-30 million a year because the market does no longer they no longer value that opportunity as much as, like, right now it's more like Amazon or AI automation is more of like the BizOp that's going to blow up, like that's the one that people will use more often. So if you box yourself into one strategy, which is what most copywriters do, by the time it's working, by the time you've cracked it, which might take 6 to 12 months, the top performing strategy is adjusted. Like right now in the dojo, we know like the top strategy is applications, getting in front of the right businesses that are looking for a copywriter. Applications is the top strategy. So, you could be sending outreach, you finally crack outreach. Outreach is no longer as effective. Applications are. Now you go try learn applications. If you know that that's the one to do, 6 months from now, it might not be the number one. It might be a different strategy. It might be inbound through referrals, or it could be something else that's trending, or maybe outreach becomes popular again, So, relying on one sort of strategy is not as effective as having a system for everything that you do. And when you have a system, then you just repeat the system repeatedly, right? And it's like you're not strategy dependent. You're flexible. If the market shifts, you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to shift strategy, and I'm going to follow a proven system for that strategy, and then implement it consistently, and then continue.
Yeah, exactly. Because that way you're proofing yourself like against like any way that the market goes. Because all you have to do is just go back and rely on the systems rather than like hope that this like trendy outreach method or whatever method works out, right? Like you can just go back to your system, and you might have to like tweak some things within the system, but that's the good thing about it. You can kind of just switch things out depending on what's relevant for that like day and age, basically.
Yeah, I mean, some of the systems that we used to use back in 2022 to get clients from like outreach, those principles, they just transferred to the application process. So now it's like you need, for example, good positioning, and you need to be able to craft good positioning. And so that aspect of outreach, we've just transferred it into a different application. And it's like now, like the application is applications, right? And it's like now, how do you use positioning in an application? It's a similar concept. It's a similar step-by-step process. It's like you don't have to, you don't have to get overwhelmed and be like shiny object, because that's how most people approach it. So I just want to say something quickly, because I know that you might be listening to this and you might be a little bit confused and thinking like, okay, so we're talking about systems, we're talking about strategies, we're talking about, being in the right place at the right time. Like, how does it all fit together? If I'm not in somewhere like the dojo, where like the dojo knows immediately. This is more important to actually the copywriting skill set than I would say client acquisition, because I think client acquisition is a lot easier to just adjust to whatever's working. I don't think it's as easy I don't think copywriting changes as much as client acquisition might change. I think the fundamentals of good writing are pretty reliably the same again and again. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but like I haven't found that the skills I developed 5-6 years ago as a copywriter, the application of them is slightly different, but the systems for writing copy, the systems for marketing, mostly the same as what I've always done. Like they're very timeless. Whereas client acquisition, it's not. It's like that changes, but the systems for copywriting, they're very timeless.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think it's like the reason why a lot of writers even today still refer back to like the greats, and they still look at these like old sales letters and to get inspiration from, because like, yeah, the main principles don't really change. Because I think it's also because I don't know the exact stat, but like in the last couple thousand years, like the human brain hasn't really evolved much, which means that the same psychological principles of persuasion like also haven't evolved much. They're the same, like, so yeah, I think that kind of proves that as well. Like, if you have a good hook to hook people in, and then you get them through the sales process, and then you close them in the right way with the right principles that pretty much always work, like you're probably going to sell people. You're probably going to convert, and there's like little things here and there where like you kind of have to feel the market out and see like what like when it comes to like sophistication levels, like, if the market has now evolved a bit and become a bit more sophisticated, then like, okay, then you have to maybe change a little bit to like what you speak to. But even then, but within that, like, you're still going to need like a good hook and a good close and on all these things, you just have to kind of,
but even sophistication is still a system. Like deciding what the market sophistication level is through research or through looking at what the previous response rate was. You can actually systemize how you go about identifying what the market sophistication is, or what the funnel sophistication should be to match the market. Like that as well is not really guessing. All of that stuff there's no guesswork, I would say, with copywriting at all. There's zero guessing.
For sure. No,
there's educated assumptions that you could test, I suppose. Like you could theorize that the market likes this angle, as much as maybe that's a guess, but within 2 days, that's why it's direct response. Within 2 days of testing that angle, you'll know whether or not it's worth continuing with. You could test on the email list, you could test organically. If you get a decent response rate, all right, maybe we test a headline on a cold traffic page, see if it does anything. You can find out very quickly if it performs or not,
Yeah, because like even though that's still kind of a guess, which like I don't know, should be accepted to like or expected, because it is marketing. You have to test. Like the market will tell you whether
Yeah.
something works or not. But I think it is definitely like if you systematize it, like it's definitely a lot easier to be directionally correct and like be be directionally correct, and you'll find out very soon like whether something works or not. But it's very hard to like completely mess something up, I feel like, if you systematize.
Yeah. So how have you done that in your business? Like let's talk about maybe a couple of things that people can take away from this. Because if I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, cool. So I need to see my business as I need to see it as a business, not as an employment or as a freelancer. And I need to systematize the workflow, my workflow for clients, and also start looking at how I can systematize the client acquisition aspects of it too. But specifically, the skill and the delivery mechanism. How have you been able to do that and make it more predictable that whenever you go into a business, there's this, because I think that's what people pay premium for, right? Like the fact that people pay premium these days, especially with AI, is not for the fact that you're going to write copy. It's like I'm paying premium because the copy is going to be good. I can expect good copy. I can expect a lot of good copy. I can expect copy for all different types of, all aspects of the funnel. But overall, I can also expect that the copy is not going to be I'm not risking, the funnel is not dependent on, how do I put this? It's like, we're going to run this funnel. If something goes wrong, it's not the copy that's the issue. We know that the copy is good enough that it wasn't the copy that's the reason that this funnel's flopping. It's an offer thing or a market thing. It's like, we don't have to worry about like if our copywriter is the reason that the event flops. I think that's what I would pay premium for. If I'm making 8 figures, it's like, cool. As long as it's decent copies, like 7, 8, 9, like maybe if it's great, if it's 9 out of 10, amazing. But I don't want to depend on the copy to be the success or failure, the difference between success or failure. So that's what I would pay premium for, So anyway, there's quite a lot of things I said there, but that's sort of, how are you using it? And what do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way of looking at it, because it's like, again, these business owners, they want good copy for sure, but it's like a big value of it is just like, there's just another thing that they don't have to worry about, and which means more mental bandwidth back that they can use to worry about other things that only they can really push forward, as the CEO or as a CMO or whatever. And you mentioned like 2 big things, which is like they're expecting good copy and they're expecting a lot of good copy, which again, I think these systems come into play really well, especially if you combine them with AI, because the good copy is going to come from your skill. A lot of copy, the volume, will definitely be helped by AI. I mean, on good days, you can probably pump out a lot of good copy, like for sure. But what if those good days aren't there? Like both the systems and the AI will help there, because the systems, like, it will help maintain the quality of it, and the AI will help the speed that you pump it out, and so the volume. So for me, I actually started making SOPs for myself, which has really helped. Because like, for example, when I write an email or something, like one SOP can be like, okay, take this like real script or this long form YouTube video that that the guru like put out, scrape it for ideas, give me 5 ideas, I'll choose the one that I like, then I'll choose it, I'll be like, okay, cool, let's do this one, and I tell it to write it, maybe with a couple of guidelines of like, make sure to do this, make sure you don't make anything up, that all the facts that you state are actually from the video, like, et cetera, et cetera. It'll pump something out, sometimes better, sometimes worse, and then I just start editing, and from that moment on, it's really more on my skill. Like the main foundation is laid, so like that's great. Like the draft is out, which I think is AI is like probably the best for us to just get the first draft out. I wouldn't really say yet it's good to write like control B and copy like at that snap of a finger. That might be one in a couple, like 1 in 1,000, I don't know. But it gets the draft out super quick, which is great. And then from that moment on, you transition onto the skill part, which you can also systematize. And yeah, you just start looking at the foundations of like, okay, is the hook good? Does the hook actually draw me in? How's the close? Are the right objections being handled? Is this actually resonant to the ICP? Like, do they care about these things that the AI spat out?
Yeah.
Can we get more specific? Is it not specific enough? And you kind of just go like through these things that like these foundational things that just make good copy that actually speak to the ICP, like where they're at sophistication wise and awareness wise, and what they actually care about and what they want to get away from, and what they don't want to do to get to the point that they want to get to. It's pretty easy to like consistently pump out good copy pretty quickly and pretty reliably if you just follow a process like that, or whatever process works for you. That's kind of the system that I went with. And yeah, it's been really, really useful, because another thing actually that really, really helps, especially if you get to the point where you have to scale and you have a lot of clients to think about and a lot of different partners to think about, systematizing it from the bigger details to like the smaller details, and just knowing exactly what you're going to do each time. It means you get a lot of mental bandwidth back as well, because you just have this system, like whether it's an SOP or whatever, that you just follow, and you don't have to constantly remember like, oh wait, what's the best way to do this? What's the fastest way to do this? Like, you know what to do. You just follow the steps, and the result like is pretty much the same each time. I found that to be like a really, really great benefit, that I just get like that mental bandwidth back, especially when scaling.
I think the big part of it is when you use AI without having a system behind it. And just if anybody doesn't really know the difference between a strategy and a system, just to be clear real quick, like what we're talking about when we talk about systems is we're talking about an itemized step-by-step process. So a strategy could be like write a short email that sends people to a YouTube video on like what we call maybe like a squeeze page, like the video is on the page, it's embedded into the page, and then below is like a book a call button or something. Writing that type of email is a strategy. I call those noteworthy emails because they're noteworthy. You're sending them to something that's like sending them to a page that is something noteworthy, right? You're not selling anything. You're sending them to a page. So that type of email, I guess, is similar to like a ClickBank style email. Like a lot of ClickBank emails look like that. But noteworthy email, that's a strategy, right? So to have that type of email is a strategy. But the system is start the email, well, at least my system, right? I know maybe you have a different one, but like my system is start the email with an intriguing lead, give a very brief piece of context. Once you go through the piece of context, then you have like the link, and insert a benefit into the link for why they should watch it. Then you should have 3 to 5 fascination bullets below the video image that like kind of pull them in even further. And then one more, you can choose the type of close that complements, and then underneath that potentially add some urgency. So if I have that process and I have a video that I'm promoting, sending people, whether it's like a webinar page, whether it's actually a video page, whether it's a ClickBank style, I can follow those steps and very reliably create very good copy. It doesn't have to be a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 email. It's not always going to be, but it's like a solid 8 every single time. And then it's like, okay, so I must create an intriguing lead. Okay, so the intriguing lead, what does an intriguing lead look like? I have a system. There's 3 things you need in an intriguing lead. You need it to have, need to be beneficial, like a benefit. It needs to have an aspect of curiosity, and it needs to tap into the dominant emotion of the marketplace as it is right now. So if you have those, people talk about this like big ideas, right? It's like the big idea is usually those 3 things too. It's like benefit, curiosity, core emotion. So now it's like every single aspect of writing that email, there isn't really that much thinking, to be honest. It's very mechanical. It's very much like, okay, I need an intriguing lead. What's the number one benefit that the market cares about? They want to, let's say it's an email to copywriters. They want to close more premium clients and make more money. What's the curiosity aspect of it is like, I don't know, let's say we're talking about systems, right? So that might sound new to a copywriter. It's like, okay, well, the top copywriters in the world are closing clients using, these 10 systems. What's the dominant emotion? I would say like AI is kind of scary. So I'd say people are like in a bit of more of a state of fear right now. So, your lead could be something along the, like, there's no creativity. It's like the lead could be something like, as a copywriter, you're always looking to, you're always looking for ways to close more premium clients so that you can make the most out of your time. And let me show you how these 10 systems have helped me and, other copywriters I work with close the best clients in the world and charge premium rates, even with AI as it is right now. Like, I don't know, that already is decent. I could edit that, I could make it better, but that's a lot better than some random hook, which is like, what's the secret to making more as a copywriter? Like, click the link below and I'll show you. So like a lot of emails that people make, they're like very average emails. They just don't have that systemized part to it, right? So I wanted to just add that like definition. It's like when you look at it that way, that type of email is now solved. Now, what if you want to write an email that's like a belief shifting email that's more like long form style? Then there's a system for that. And then there's the same thing for like writing landing pages, writing VSLs, writing everything. Like I systemized everything I've done. 10,000 pieces of copy I've reviewed, thousands of hours of coaching copywriters. I've systemized everything.
Yeah. No, yeah, and it's funny you mentioned those like the structures as well. For example, for the noteworthy email, like that's actually also a part of my process. I basically have two parts of my process when it comes to AI. Is like first I'll come up with the idea, and then once I have that, I'll just be like, okay, so when you actually start writing this, use this structure. And if it's if I need to send people to a YouTube video, I'll literally just copy paste the noteworthy email like skeleton that you have in Dojo, like as part of the kata, and I'll give it to the AI and I say follow this. Or if it's a story email, I'll give the structure and follow this. Sometimes I might tweak it a little bit if it makes sense, but usually I just do that because I know it's a proven structure. I know it's easy to follow for the AI, and that way you kind of have like a guarantee that the email that's gonna come out, it's gonna be good enough to edit and like polish and make into something that's gonna convert and make your clients happy and keep making clients want to pay you to make them happy. So
yeah, and it's very systemized. And it's like when you think of copywriting, this might be something useful for you guys to watch as well. It's like, think about this. There's three things. There's three aspects of copy. There's the attention aspect, the big idea, the hook, the lead, everything that captures attention. That's like the AIDA formula. Let's just use AIDA for example. It's like attention and interest, right? It's like that first is ideas, right? There's systems for ideas. You can systemize ideas for every market and research, and you can build ideas. It's a mechanical process. You can systemize it. The second type of copy is conversion copy. So you have idea copy, you have conversion copy. Conversion copy is like shifting beliefs and setting the market up to prescribe the market the perspective that you need them to have and the perspective that they need in order to be believers in what you're about to sell them. So that's what like the webinar does the whole way through a webinar VSL is like converting them from one set of beliefs to the next set of beliefs. If they don't believe in Amazon by the beginning of the webinar, by the end of the webinar, they should be sold on Amazon before you sell them an Amazon coaching product. You can't sell them Amazon coaching unless they first believe that Amazon is the number one way for them to achieve all their dreams or whatever. So you need conversion copy. And then you also need, I would say, we could call it like sales copy or like offer copy, which is how do you present your offer in a unique way? How do you, create all the features, all the benefits, all the emotional benefits, all the dimensionalized benefits, as Clayton Makepeace coins it, creating all the benefits, creating everything that sells the offer. Those are like the three types of copy. And yet most copywriters these days, they're relying on their skill. They're using AI, which is much more of a content. It collects like a lot of data and just outputs content. So they're not doing any of these three things. They're actually just writing content. They're just writing content. They're not really doing those three things. But if you know these three things, you can systemize every part of that process, right? Like this is what you were talking about with the kata. So I have some email formulas I call the kata, right? Because the dojo just made sense to call them kata. And I put them together back in 2020, the original versions of these. And so what you would do, if you want to write copy as a copywriter back then, like if you were working with me, what I would do is I'd say, okay, cool. Close an email client. You close an email client. You come up with big ideas based on systems I give you. You follow the systems. I already gave you one of them, which is like the benefit, curiosity, core dominant emotion. Then you move on to the structure. What structures do you want to deliver in? And then also part of structures is how do you shift the right beliefs, the ones that will set them up to want to buy the product. So that's also an aspect of it. There's like systems to reverse engineer the core beliefs that the market has, and then also how to present the new beliefs and which beliefs to present that will prime them and set them up for the right offer. And then and then you have obviously the sales copy, different call to actions, different ways to close, different ways to write bullets, different ways to create the links, different ways to use testimonials, all that stuff. It's like everything you can actually systemize. So at this point in this world that we're in now with AI, like maybe 5 years ago, it might have been a bit more like of a creative experience for people. But like in 2025, 2026, you shouldn't have to, you shouldn't be thinking about that aspect of the business anymore, in my opinion. Like the actual mechanical process of generating proven copy to convert, that shouldn't be something you're spending 80% of your time on, because the industry moves so quickly, right? Like I could go and study how to write the perfect VSL. I could go and borrow somebody's templatized VSL script. And I go and spend all this time trying to craft that, which is what a lot of copywriters do. And then it's like you spend those 3, 4, 5 months trying to learn that skill. Like I'm going to learn how to write VSLs. And then by the time that you've got that skill, the market doesn't even do VSLs. Right now, everybody's doing challenge and launch funnels. So like you spend 6 months developing that skill to like a 9 out of 10, you feel so proud of yourself. No one wants it. And then the copywriters box themselves because they're like, well, that's the only thing I'm good at. That's the only thing I have results in. I'm a VSL copywriter. And then no gigs are looking for them. There's no one that, let's just say, right? I'm not saying that this is right now because there's a lot of VSL right now. But 6, 12 months from now, maybe that's not what the job application says. The job says we're looking for a full stack operator who can do events. Oh, that's not for me. That gig is not for me. Whereas you can say, yeah, because you're not spending 80% of your time trying to master, small aspects of the craft, because every single part of the craft is systematized to the point where it's like an 8 out of 10. Yeah, you could probably take it a little bit further. If there's enough financial upside for you, then maybe you'll invest that time, but you don't need to, because you're like you're a jack of all trades. This is a bit of a rant. I'm aware that like we're having a dialogue here, but I really wanted to unpack that for people, because you spend all that time studying, you spend all that time on the copy side. There's a reason you should obviously be an 8 out of 10 copywriter, 9 out of 10 in terms of your delivery. But if you're spending 80% of your time there, you're not giving enough time to client acquisition. And as we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, right, Iason, it's like the money is going to come from being in the right businesses so that you can create those controls, because you could have the best skills in the world. You're working for a mid 6-figure business. It's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to impress anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like mic drop. It's like, that's like where it's at, right? I mean, we could talk about it. We could talk about secrets. We could talk about strategies, but it's really, you need systems, and you shouldn't be spending 80% of your time
definitely
on the basics. Like, the dojo right now, right, Iason? Like, where are we at? Like, all the guys we're working with privately, like, I don't find the majority of them talk to me on a day-to-day basis about the aspect of the craft. It's like, we've solved that. We've got so many systems now for how to write copy. Yeah, I'm reviewing copy. I'm like challenging people to get better, but I'm always taking 8 out of 10 copy to a 9 out of 10. The majority of the conversation with the best writers in the world, the 6-figure, multi-6-figure guys, we're always talking about how we can position ourselves better, where the big deals are, where the big, let's say if we're in BizOp, where the like which coaches to work with in health, like what trends. We're talking about the business of copywriting, like closing clients, delivering, how to generate more referrals, how to network. Like we're talking about client acquisition,
Yeah, it's much higher leverage stuff, which is good. Like it allows you to upgrade your problems, because now you don't have to worry about like these little, like, how do I write a hook or whatever, and it allows you to get to the next level as well with your own service business, which is like the whole point anyway. And also you mentioned before, like, the industry is moving fast, but I would say expect it to move, even like to keep moving fast and keep moving faster exponentially every single year. Because I mean, just look at like the world like around you, like look at the world like now, and even just 5 years ago, it's a completely different place. And our industry is 100% a part of that. Especially something as relevant and it's something that has to keep up with the times as like marketing. Otherwise, you fall
Hmm.
behind. Like that's like like it's gonna keep moving faster. Like so if you don't find a way to keep up with it and not even just keep up with it, but like find a way to make it almost effortless to keep up with something that's just timeless, because if you have this timeless asset, you're basically guaranteed to keep up with the times because it's you're not relying on something that's just trendy and is here now and gone the next moment. That's like thinking about it now, like I think that's like a huge benefit of like having systems that are like timeless in that sense because you're going to be good regardless.
You can just focus
And
on
if you, and
growing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
exactly, because you also have to think about it. If you're not like stressing about the future the whole time, you're like, oh, I don't even know if like this copywriting thing is gonna work out, or like if I'm gonna have like clients to put like food on the table. Like imagine just think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like if you got that figured out and you've got the basics figured out, and you're good, you have that confidence, then like just imagine like what are the things your mind's going to be open up to think about instead, like then you can really imagine and think about some amazing things to take that next step, whether it's with your business or just in life or like whatever, you can really take that step to self-actualization if you don't have to worry about these like bullshit little issues, if those are taken care of because of your systems.
I think this is actually like we've talked about this before between you and me, and we've also talked about like what the success, the reason that there's the success that you've had. But I think this conversation is bringing me even more clarity. I don't know if anybody watching is like seeing that, but I'm just realizing how much mental bandwidth that you don't have to carry on all the low level things because you've just systemized all that stuff. Like even if you're not delegating it to a copywriter or a junior or even AI, it doesn't matter. It's like all the stuff that, I mean, structures is such a simple example. Like, email copy, for example, like the kata, the kata that we use in the dojo, those systems, right, to write email structures. You know how much time copywriters sit and edit and tell AI, I don't like this, write me a better email. How much time copywriters sit back and forth with just the like basic structure of an email. And for the last 5 years, we haven't even like, it's not even something we have to think about. It's like, it's not even a part of we can spend 90% of our time on the idea and or on the close or whatever, or like on what we're even promoting in the first place. We can be so much more strategic. We can step into all that strategy because we're not sitting
Yeah.
with structures and dealing with structural issues. Same with VSLs. I mean, same with ads. I have, this. I mean, we have like 25 different ad structures. I've got like 20 different core email structures, promotional structures, like deadline structures, urgency structures, like short form VSL structures, offer, product aware, solution aware, problem aware, most aware, everything, belief shift. Yeah, we just have every type of system out there, really. So like we don't have to spend time thinking about those things. Now I know some copywriters, obviously they're watching this, they don't have my systems. So they have to, you can always go develop your own systems. That's cool. But at least that's been an advantage for us, is that we haven't had to spend years and years trying to build our own systems, because as a coach, like that's a lot, I have a lot of free time to do that, right? Like I don't have to be delivering on a day-to-day basis for clients because I've been going all in. I mean, I was refining my systems with my client work. But over the last 2 years specifically, I've had a lot less client work. I've had an easy 30 hours a week to dedicate to just systemizing every aspect of the business. So like you've got a guy here that's like been doing this for 2 years. That's however many, it's probably over 1,000 hours worth of my time and my experience systemizing all that stuff. So you guys don't have to think about it. And that's part of like what I've been trying to do as a coach, like trying to add that value in that way, is just making that part easier. So you guys can just focus on higher level stuff.
Yeah, because a lot of people when I tell them like the progress that I've made and the time that I've done it, like they're always very surprised, and it's been a blessing, and it is, humbly speaking, been exceptional progress. But how was I able to do that, if not because of being able to plug into like pre-existing systems? Because if I had to start from scratch and build these systems fully from scratch and put in all the time and effort and that experience that you did because you had the time for it, like obviously as a coach. I don't know, probably would have taken me like maybe double the time, maybe more. I don't know. Like, because I just had the systems right there. I could pretty much just plug into them and just go from there, just refine them from that point on,
Hmm.
rather than really having to create them from scratch and like really sit down and be like, okay, what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do that? It's way better if you can just plug into something and then refine it rather than like build something from scratch, That's, start with something that's proven and refine it, I mean, and rather than
Yeah.
experiment.
Yeah, because now you use your own systems. I know you've taken, stuff from me that's been proven to work and from other people, and you've refined it and made it your own, but you didn't start from zero. Whereas I think a lot of people, they're like lone wolves. They're trying to figure it all out themselves.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine doing that now. Like that would suck, honestly. So yeah, I'm glad I did it this way, honestly. Like it's been a lot easier and a lot less stressful just because of that, and a lot faster too.
I think it's an ego thing. I don't know what you think, but I think people that try and reinvent the wheel and try to build everything their own unique way, it's kind of like, oh yeah, business is so unique. I'm special. And it's like, well, I think business is just model. It's just models that have proven to work, and the most effective models. Just why try build your own one unless you have an ego? Why not just like plug into what works?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I think maybe also some people think like, oh well, I wanna, I don't just want to sit here and like copy paste other people and just do what they do and whatever. And I want to build something that's my own and that I can put my name behind and whatever. But and that's like that's fine. But like it's totally okay to just like take something that's already worked and then like build on top of that. And if you are taking inspiration from something, like okay, like all you just got to do is not take credit for it, and you'll be fine. And if it comes up, just give credit to the right person. Be like, oh well, I learned this from this person, and then it's fine. Like and yeah, like you said, you just refine it from then on, and you can make it your own. Like if like I know we all have this ego, and we want to have our legacy or whatever, and we want to have stuff that we can put our name behind and whatever. That's cool. You can still do that. Like just refine it and make it your own. And then any part that's not something that you came up with, you can just give the right people the credit and still get the benefit that it gives to your business and to your life. Like it's okay. It's fine. You can just use it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. So I think that really comes down to, okay, now I'm a copywriter watching this. I need systems. I need to stop spending my time in the weeds and fighting to get that sales letter out or that VSL out, and spending all my time trying to study all this content and coaching and courses and trying to like learn all the stuff I need to do to just do the basic stuff. Meanwhile, people like you and other copywriters that are at multi six figures, they're focusing on the higher level strategy and client acquisition and personal brand and reputation and stuff. It's like, what is that first step then? What do you think are some things that somebody at 5 to 10K that wants to stop playing, being in the small pond and like start playing like, with like more successful copywriters? Like what are some ways that they could do that right now?
Well, I mean, look, I think I can only speak from experience and just say what I did and what worked for me. And like I said before, it's just like find like if you can find just already pre-existing systems, that can help you get to where you want to go faster. It sounds really simple, but like that's basically it. Usually that's gonna come from like somebody who's had a lot of experience in the game and who's had. I mean, it's gonna sound like super cheesy and stuff, but like I would recommend like
I know where we're
check
going.
out Matt. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we know where we're going here, but like, but it's also like I'm also saying that because like that's what I did and it worked out really really fucking well for me. So you know, morally speaking, I can only recommend what I think is the best next step based on my experience. So I would say like maybe check out Matt's stuff because that's I mean basically the whole thing that we just spoken about for I don't know how long, like almost an hour. You'll find it there, and from my experience, it's worked and it works like over and over and over again. and from the experience of what, like thousands or people who are, in the copy systems, or like in your programs, like they would have tested out too. Like all the people in Dojo, where we also rely on those systems,
Yeah.
they would say that too. Um, so based on that, I would say like check that out, and if look if it doesn't work out, then that's fine too. But I would say like just check it out, because like that's what's working, and a bunch of other people who were in the exact spot that you probably are right now. So yeah, I would say that.
Thanks, bro. And yeah, look, for 5 years, you'd have to invest thousands of dollars to be part of my private, private mentees. To be a private mentee of mine, you'd have to invest thousands and thousands, like you have, right? You've invested a lot of money to work with me, and I appreciate. And I thank you for trusting in me as a coach to help you, and it's been great to see your success. But these days, like with Copy Systems, the way I built it, we took all those processes and systems that the dojo has been using for the last 5, 6, 7 years, or like all my processes I've been using for the last 8 years as a copywriter, like everything refined, hundreds of systems on every part of it. And I packaged it all together. I made it very simple. I even wrote them in a way that you can actually train AI on. Like I went there.
Yeah, just
I
you
went
just
as
copy
far as
paste
like,
it.
I didn't even make it videos. I didn't make it these like long hour videos with like explaining each system like a course. I don't want to build a course. I don't need courses. Okay. We're past that stage of the internet where you can use ChatGPT to watch like an hour video and get an executive summary. We don't need like hundreds of hours of courses anymore. You just need the system. You need the core ingredients. You need the step-by-step process, like a recipe book, So I made everything into like a recipe, 15 minutes, step by step, itemize it. And you can even use it as an AI model, like to train the AI on. Like a lot of people actually did that over the last year, right? Because we've had systems, it was previously in Copy Basecamp. We did a rebrand because I realized it's actually systems. It's not a product program. But people in Basecamp were doing that. They were taking all the systems that we had in there, and they would just train AI and say, hey, here's Matt's system for how to write bullets. Use this, learn this, and then based on what you learn, go and edit my bullets and make them better. A lot of people were just doing that. But anyway, what I'm saying is, previously it was thousands and thousands of dollars, and when I was consulting, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. And now it's like a cup of coffee a day. So you can just stop wasting time and trying to figure it all out by yourself, and just give it a shot. Check it out, see how those systems work for you with almost zero. I mean, if you're an active copywriter, right? If you're a beginner, obviously not, then it is a financial risk. But if you're an active copywriter, you even have one client, it's like the financial risk is like relatively zero, basically.
Yeah,
It's a cup of coffee a day, so, you decide what you want to do with that. But I've made it accessible for that reason, because the real goal, as you know, the goal is to bring people into our ecosystem that are more successful, that are making money with good clients, so that we can kind of create that exclusive collection of all the best writers in the world. We all work together because we have to work together. We're in 2025. You can't be a lone wolf here. So I want to bring all the best under the same like roof, and we all working together. We all know what works, and we kind of that way we solve copywriting for our industry, and like become the center of where we're able to create great results for people, and we share all that knowledge with each other. It's not really a coaching offer. It's like I've always had the vision of creating like a mastermind aspect, like we've done with the dojo, right? But like I want it to be bigger. I want the whole industry to be involved, and we can all focus on making more money and make the industry a lot better. Because when you have good copy, then you can focus on the marketing, you can focus on customer success, you can focus on helping better businesses, because you're not dependent on just working with like a crappy product. You can help the industry. So yeah, taking
yeah,
away all the barriers, you decide what you want to do with that.
yeah, absolutely. I would say, I mean, it's honestly, it's just extremely low risk. It's just like, I would say just like, why not, because the thing is like, everything's like so laid out like in such a way, like it's very extensive. Basically, it's like super extensive. Like anything you need, basically, for any copy that you need, like it's there. So when I say low risk, it's just like it's so like simply put that if you just follow like the principles of it, It's pretty hard to fuck up. Like yeah, it takes a special kind of person to fuck that up, basically, I would say. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's what I would say about it. Check it out.
Thanks, bro. No, I appreciate that. It's quite nice. I know part of the conversation we do want to talk about a little bit as well. So, for you watching, yeah, I got copy systems. We're live. I will be closing the doors shortly. When we open the doors again, price will be going up, obviously. So, link in the description. Go check it out. See if it makes sense for you. It'll make more sense if you're an active writer. Pretty sure if you're an active writer, you won't. Yeah, you'll want to learn more about it. If you're not an active writer, then and you're a beginner or something, then I think that you need to go watch some more YouTube videos or like go close a client or something. I don't really think, closing your first client is probably more of a priority. If you don't even have a client, then there's no what can you systemize if you don't even have any business? There's no business yet, right? So if you don't have a business, then what system do you need? You need to go and put some time in to like generate some interest. But yeah, that's the secret, guys. Like we talk about secrets all the time. The secret is you need systems, and whether you use mine or not, that doesn't bother me. I'm doing my thing. But Iason's got results because he had systems, and you go build yourself some systems, whether it's mine or whether it's other people's. It's the same thing. It's like build systems, and you will be able to focus on the higher leverage things. And when you focus on higher leverage things, you're naturally going to make more money, like Iason has. Making multiple six figures because he's not in the details of the day to day. He's not sitting on Upwork applying for these small jobs. He's able to focus on the biggest businesses in the industry. I mean, what is that like, by the way? Like, what is it like to talk to some of these big guys and come onto the phone call as a partner, not really as some sort of employee? Like when you come on, you've got a really strong frame. What's it like working with businesses and having those kinds of conversations?
Yeah, I think no, I mean it's great, honestly. Because I mean, first of all, like when you're talking to those type of business owners, often like you get quite used to it too, and you the more time you spend around those like business owners, which I don't know, maybe some copywriters might have like imposter syndrome issues. That kind of just melts away because it's just like the more you're kind of in that environment, you're telling your subconscious like, okay, I'm like supposed to be here. So that's one thing that's really great because that's a really powerful mindset where that you can use to really think much bigger as well. I would say that, but also it's just like more practically speaking, well, it's just much easier also to set boundaries, so that you're not just like getting scope creeped all the time, and um, because if you come into a relationship with like a stronger frame like that, like your partner frame, like it feels much more natural for yourself as well to like set those boundaries and to demand certain terms from clients that like obviously that's fair, like that's fair for both of you. Um, but yeah, you feel less weird about doing that because it's just like okay, like like we're partners here. Like this has to be fair for both of us. This has to be reasonable for both of us. So that's one thing, and also it's just like it's a lot easier to just like close, like get more. Like it's really good for deal flow basically. Like um because like working with these businesses, like that means you can also brag about working with those businesses. And if you present yourself the right way and position yourself the right way and leverage those things, then it just gets easier and easier and easier to frame yourself as a partner with like future relationships as well, because you're basically telling them like, hey, I've had partnerships with like the biggest names in the industry over and over and over again. That's normal for me. So expect that with our relationship as well, you know?
Mm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's nice. It's just, it's a nice feeling of like abundance in a way, like where like, if you do that, you basically know like, okay, I'm going to be good, no matter what. Like I'll be able to, like, let's say one client falls through because their offer is like dying or something, or whatever reason, then it's like, you're not stressing. Number one, because like, before that you've probably already made like in my position now, like last year I felt like I was still kind of in that paycheck to paycheck thing, kind of my own fault because I just wasn't very smart with my money. And also I was just investing in like, events and stuff like that, which, in America. So I had to, you know, buy plane tickets to go there and get the actual ticket event and whatever. So I was spending a lot, didn't have much left, but this year though, I've managed to like build some savings for myself as well. And I think that's really like a big part of that is as well that I'm able to like frame myself and position myself to work with these bigger clients who also pay more. And it's just nice to like be in a position where like, you you're good, and it makes it even easier to like set boundaries because like you're not scared to like lose any particular client. So it's a good position to be in, basically.
What is it like to charge like that? I mean, you're talking to them, they're not gonna offer you like $2,000 a month. They're gonna pay you properly. How does the positioning and all the work that you've done and having all these deals on the table give you the ability to charge basically whatever you want to charge? That's within obviously fair pricing, but you can charge what you want.
Yeah, no, I mean that's basically it. Like it's easier to charge for what you want because like if you position yourself as more premium in that sense, it makes more sense for them. Like they're not gonna expect you to charge like less. They're almost gonna expect you to charge a lot, because it's like your your service is premium because you positioned yourself in that way. So first of all, there's gonna be less resistance to it, and if there is resistance to it, um, yeah, it's easier to still like negotiate like a fair deal, which is either, you know, a little bit less but still within reason because you should be price anchoring anyway, I think. So you can just go a little bit lower where you're still happy with it. Or it's easier to just be like, okay, well, we can start with a bit lower and then, after you've seen like the value that I've provided, like in maybe 2 to 3 months, we can renegotiate this and then which is also great because then the LTV of the client goes up and then at some point it's going to go up anyway. So like the monthly retainer. So yeah, it's good. And even like recently I had like something crazy happen where like I quoted a certain number and then the prospect like the prospect actually offered to pay me more. And so the reason for that is because well, I mean, it was a client that I had some experience with before, and I'd already proven my value and really went above and beyond and over delivered. Largely also using the systems that we all use in Dojo. So he already had a great experience with me, large in part because of the systems. And now, like a year later, he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I need someone for daily emails." And I was like, "Okay, well, because it was basically like a test, so I wanted to give them a good deal too, to first see if it actually made sense, because they'd never done daily emails before, so we didn't even know what the ROI was going to be. So I thought it was fair, like, okay, we could start a bit lower, which for me is 3K. For maybe a lot of people that's like normal, but yeah, I was like, okay, we could start at 3K the first month, and then go from there. And then he's like, yeah, like honestly, I would feel like I would be robbing you if we did 3K. So
Yeah.
how about we do three and a half, and I'll throw in a bonus if we hit a certain number of ticket sales. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. Yeah, I wasn't even expecting that. I just charged what I thought was like fair. Also because I had a previous experience with him. He was actually my first client, so I owe a lot to that guy. So I wanted to give him like a good price. And yeah, and he was like, "Nah, I feel like I'd be robbing you. I need to pay you more." So it's crazy.
So
It's like opposite day. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing actually, like one more thing, which was on a sales call recently. Um, Basically, like in this industry, that the prospect is in, I have a really big client who is a pretty big name in the space. And yeah, so basically I was talking to the prospect and he was asking me like, "Oh, we need the help with this and this and this." And for me, like it looked interesting. The only problem was that I didn't know if I was going to be able to take him on in good faith and actually give him the bandwidth that I need to give him and like so that I wouldn't be half-assing it because I just didn't have the time for it. Because, reputation is number one. And then he's like, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not sure if I can like fit that in. And he's like, because he was asking like, I need a website, I need ads, I need emails, etc. So I was like, oh, this seems interesting, but the only issue is like, I don't know if I have the bandwidth for all that, so I'm not sure if this is gonna work out. And then he's like, nah, I totally understand, but like, okay, what if we just start with like a website? And I'm just like, dude, did this guy just objection handle me? Like, I was like, what the hell? Like, like the roles are like completely reversed. Like after some point, like after
Yeah.
you've positioned yourself and proved your value in such a way, like people, like prospects and existing clients, they really start like treating you differently, and it kind of becomes easy mode at some point, and yeah, it's really funny because I was like after I ended the call, I was like, what the did this guy just objection handle me? Like, what the hell? Like, it's so weird, but it's great.
Well, I think that's where people need to get to. Copywriters should get there. If you're not spending your time on the day-to-day stuff all the time, you're in the, we literally work with clients every single day that say the same thing. They're like, especially if they're business coaches, they're like, oh, you're in the day-to-day operations. You're working in your business, not on your business. If you're a copywriter and you see your business as a business, not as a freelance job, employment, you kind of realize the same thing. It's like, actually, you're in your business all day, every day, pulling your hair out with AI, trying to figure out how to write a close for an email or how to come up with a headline for this or how to come up with that. It's like, that's why you're still stuck at 5K a month or 6K a month or whatever. Like if you're working on your business, you're working on positioning, you're working on, bringing more talent and more incredible business owners to your doorstep, within a year or two of positioning and good results, and you're going to be in a situation where it does flip. Like it becomes what you've had now, where it's like, oh, I understand you're a very busy man, like, would you be open to like, kind of like maybe help me with my website or something for now? And like, I'll pay you up front and I'll give you like the time that you need to do it and like a couple extra weeks if you need it. Just like would really appreciate you. Could you squeeze me in here? Like if you need to think about it, that's okay. But like, can we schedule a follow-up call like in a couple days time so you can let me know what like what you think, and I'll do my best to give you all the information that you need to make it a success. Like I'll give you all the onboarding and like just make your life so easy. This is not a you only case. This is something that I've experienced. I had a client in 2022 I wrote some emails for, and they just completely crushed, because I just used the same. It's not like I have anything different. I don't do anything different to the systems that I've put together. I use my systems probably more than anybody else, So anyways, I wrote these emails. A few of them were noteworthy emails. Those were some of the better ones, actually, funny enough. So the noteworthy emails, I wrote them, and I built these autoresponder sequences for them. And they said they want to do some daily emails. I said, you guys should probably spend a bit more money on organic before not on organic, but on like YouTube ads. Spend more money on YouTube ads. And then when you've got these automations making you more money, then maybe it's worth doing daily. So anyway, they went away for a little while. I kind of like disqualified them as you're not ready yet, So they went away and did some work. 4 or 5 months later, they came back and they're like, okay, we're ready for email. And back then I was like, okay, you know what? I still don't think you're ready for daily with what you're doing. I would suggest we just do 3 emails a week for $2,000 a month. And I thought it was a pretty decent deal. It's quite a competitive rate. $2,000 a month for 3 weekly emails is relatively fair. And then the guy's like, Matt, like I really appreciate that, but we're actually like very serious about scaling right now. Like we don't want to just do 3 emails a week. Like I know that you say we're not ready yet. We'll get ready for you. Like we'll make it possible. Like, can we do daily emails? And like like I didn't quote him this. He's like, can we do daily emails? We'll do 4K. Like, can we pay you twice as much? And I said, yeah. And would you be open to, once we hit a certain number? I think I said like, I said, what did I say? I said something along the lines of like, if we hit, 20, 30 grand a month from email, would you be happy to bump it to 5K a month? Because that's what I usually do with clients. I I don't do daily emails for 4K. I usually do it for 5K, plus
Yeah,
plus
fair enough.
upside. But we don't have to talk about let's talk about upside later. But like for now, you down for 5K a month if we hit a certain number? And he's like, yeah, no problem. So the initial goal was to make 15, 20 grand a month from those emails, and we got to 200 grand a month pretty quickly. Yeah. So I think I had like 2-3 months at 4K a month with those daily emails, and then after that it was at 5K a month, and had no
Yeah,
meetings. Had like 1 10-minute meeting a month with the guy. All he said was amazing. I love your stuff. Thanks, bro. Great stuff, and just paid me. And then like the one problem I had with this client is I wasn't able to get referrals from him because he didn't want to share me with anybody else.
yeah. That's the
So
problem.
he's like, that is actually one weird thing about like when you scale the business and you're so good at like running the operation that you're not in the day to day. A lot of the clients actually, ironically, don't want to refer you because they want to keep you to themselves. You have to get referrals from the team at that point. So I was getting referrals from people within the team that are like, working with other clients, but he would never refer me anybody, because he's like, no, I just want you for my work. So I just want to say that because you guys listening, excuse me, you guys listening, you look at this game, you're looking at it as an employee. That's why you're in the day-to-day operations all the time. And of course, you're going to feel threatened by AI because AI literally does replace you in the day-to-day operations a lot of the time. So if you're basing your self-worth on your day-to-day operations working in the business and AI can do, let's say, 30-40% of that, it does feel scary because that's where you're attaching self-worth. Whereas like Iason and I, we're working on the business of copywriting. We're looking at copy as an asset that we're generating business owners. We're generating this asset that they can use in their marketing, whether that's with the help of AI or whether that's with the skill set. Either way, we're using systems to create that asset for them. We're charging for that asset. It's kind of like oil manufacturer, like charges for oil. Like no one really cares exactly how they're doing that. It's like they're just getting the oil and giving it, and they make a lot of money. We're selling the asset of copy. The day-to-day is irrelevant. It's like, do what's necessary, optimize, automate, delegate, systematize, and then just generate the copy asset and focus on the other stuff. And then you never get threatened by AI. Like that's the last thing I really wanted to share with you guys today is like, there's this camp of like AI dependent copywriters. And then there's the camp of like skill focused copywriters. And they're kind of like both missing the point where they're like, business owners are not paying for you, all paying for AI. They're paying for this asset called copy, and they value the asset. And it doesn't matter how the asset is created, as long as it's quality. It's like the real deal. It's real quality copy that makes sense for their business. When you stop being AI dependent or you stop being skill focused, and instead you systematize and you use both AI and your skills to just generate what they need, and you zoom out and you like start running it as a business, yeah, you make a lot of money very easily. And it's actually like, yeah, I know you work really hard, Iason, but like you could have been working the same amount of time working in an agency for 4K a month burnt out. Like, let's also just look at the other side of it. It's like, yeah, you make multiple six figures, but like if you hadn't been building your business and you were working in your business and you were like, you could have been in a content mill, 3K, 4K a month burnt out, working same amount of hours.
Definitely. It's a change of leverage, like because at this point it's kind of like I'm working hard, like not because like I have to, but I'm working hard because like I just want to. I just want to scale, bro. But like, so like that's why I'm working hard. It's not out of like necessity, but it's because I want to. And like the systems allow me to like my inputs have much higher leverage now, and yeah, because I mean, without the systems, it would be even harder, and I would get less of an output from it. So, yeah, like it doesn't matter like where you kind of are with your journey. Like if you're trying to get to like whether you're trying to get to like consistent like 30K months or you're just starting out, and you're you have like one client or something, is just gonna make everything easier. Like if you're at the higher ends of the spectrum, it's gonna allow you to stay there and just max out as much as you can. And if you're more starting out, it's gonna allow you to get to that point quicker, like to your 10, 15, 20, 25 and beyond much quicker. And when you're there, you're not going to have to worry about like, oh, is this a one-hit wonder? Am I going to be able to stay here? Like, no, it's going to be pretty easy,
Yeah. That's actually that brings me to a question. I think this may be the last question for this interview, but thanks so much for, sharing your perspective and talking about this stuff with me. I think a lot of people are going to find value. You just brought up a good point. You know how many copywriters, they use copywriting as a means to an end, where they're like, I'm going to be a copywriter so that I can do this other thing I actually care about. It's like, I just became a copywriter because I needed the money to like build a business. Then I want to build something, right? So I find a lot of copywriters, like maybe even 50% of copywriters, they're not actually like copywriters. They're just using copy as that vehicle to get their actual goal, right? So I just noticed something and just thought about this based on what you're saying right now. It's like, you want to build a business, right? That's your goal. If that's your goal, and copywriting is just a means to an end, you're business focused. And you think that copywriting is not the vehicle to get you there. But you still haven't treated copywriting as a business yet. So even the very thing that you're currently doing, you're still not treating as a business. What makes you think that if you go and build a separate business or go do a different business model, that you're going to behave any differently there if you're not treating the thing you're currently doing as a business? Because you could practice building a business right here as a copywriter. You don't have to go build a separate business. You would systemize this. You would treat this as a business. You would treat client acquisition as a part of getting customers, just like if you were building a D2C, you would be constantly thinking about customer acquisition. If you're a copywriter, why are you not thinking about all those things that a real business does and building it right now with the existing thing? Like, I just thought about that. It's like I'm going to start saying that to clients. Like, you want to go build a business? You want to use copywriting to go build a business? Why don't you start building your copywriting business as a business, systemize it, and then you can like learn all the skills you'd need as a business owner.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to
actually, there's no question there. I just want to know what you think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, it makes the transition easier because it's just like you're already doing what you need to. Like, you're already kind of like practicing scaling a business, which is your own service business, like your copywriting business, and then like all this is just like a change of context, but it's like you're still kind of like doing the same thing, like a similar process, because there's still going to be customer acquisition involved. There's still going to be marketing and branding involved for your own business. There's still going to be like, keeping your clients happy involved. Whether that's your customers, like you said, like whether you're in a D2C company and you need to keep your customers happy and like maximize like LTV. You still have to do the same thing as well for like your service business. So, and so that's going to pay off like in the future, but it's also going to pay off right now because this is going to make everything better, basically.
Yeah, that's it. So, get systems. Link in the description to get my systems. Iason, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. 6 months from now, we're going to be having a conversation about millions, right?
Yeah, probably next month, bro.
Yeah, next month. That's right. Yeah. We're gonna start the conversation like, so Iason, you just bought another yacht. Like, what do you think? What kind of? Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your time. And
yeah, I appreciate you.
I'll see you soon, man.
Awesome. Peace.